Hey everyone. Before we get started with today's show, I wanted to give our good friend Sean Kennedy a shout out for winning the Week 1 Sleeper Pick'em for the Sports Ballers. If you want to join us for Week 2, it's not too late. You might be a little bit behind in the standings for the overall season, but we also track week to week. So if you win Week 2, we'll still give you a shout out even if you don't have any picks for Week 1. Feel free to sign up, no financial commitment required. On today's show, we'll get into some Week 1 recaps along with what we expect to see in Week 2 and what interests us, and a little bit of basketball, and airing some grievances of one of our favorite sports programs. Hit the music, Corey. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the Sports Ballers podcast. My name is Eric Meyer. I am joined by Corey Puffett and Evan Ash. As always, fellas, how are we doing coming off of this first weekend of professional football?
Frustrated and tired.
Well, that describes a lot of Baltimore fans. Corey, how about you?
Just frustrated, but still hopeful.
And I am just happy as a clam because my team sucks, and I knew it. We are 0-3
nice.
as a podcast, but my team did not play particularly well, and they also did not cover. I picked them to cover the 6.5 point line, and they lost by 7, so great. But
I think all of us picked them.
well, it was a lot of points
It
for the
was.
Cardinals on the
Yes.
road, yeah.
I
But
don't
anyway,
remember.
let's talk about some actually interesting games. Let's get started
if we must.
right away
Part of
with-
the healing process.
with the Bills and the Ravens playing Sunday Night Football, marquee game of the week, and it lived up to the hype. The Bills ended up winning at the gun 41-40 on a 38-yard field goal.
Now, I have to ask because it was a long weekend for me. I had to go to bed at about 10:30. It was early second half. Evan, what happened in the second half of that game?
A lot of stuff happened.
Exactly.
Yeah,
How
a
much
lot of
time do we
things.
have? Not that much, so we can't get to it.
Let's see. The Ravens' offense looked kind of unstoppable. Then they kind of stopped themselves in the fourth quarter with some
As John Harbaugh is wont to do.
puzzling play calls, I'll say. There was
This is what he does.
Yeah.
He plays to not lose.
Yeah, all the time.
Instead of playing to win.
Yep.
And when you play to not lose, you have
You lose.
just as good a chance of losing as you do of not losing.
So something that also drives me crazy, we always think about the end of the game when we think about mismanaging the clock. It's an underrated feature is you can't mismanage the first half either. And they mismanaged the end of that. They ran a play before the 2-minute warning,
Yep.
which gave the Bills 30 seconds on the back end to kick that field goal. And it was completely unnecessary. They were already in Bills territory. There was no need to run a play on that side of the 2-minute warning. So, my recap of the game is pretty straightforward. The Ravens had a terrible special teams night. They had a landing zone infraction penalty that gave the
missed
Bills a
extra
short
point.
field. They missed a PAT. They had one of their gunners inexplicably dive on a ball even though it wasn't necessary, and he slid into the end zone, which cost them
Oh, yeah,
19 yards
that
of field
happened.
position. The Bills scored a touchdown on that drive, so it was kind of a big deal. So special teams sucked. Coaching is a bad coaching day. They dropped 2 interceptions. They had an untimely fumble from a guy who doesn't fumble a whole lot in Derrick Henry. And they had some bad luck with the tipped touchdown on 4th down for the Bills to get it within one score. And the fact that the Bills even had the miracle 1 second left at the end of the first half. All of this stuff went against the Ravens, and they lost by 1 point to one of the best teams in the AFC on the road. They have so much margin for error. So much margin for error.
and they used it all up.
And they use it all up every time.
Yeah.
Just be a little good. Just do the little things right for 20 minutes of the game and you win. Mm-hmm. But they couldn't manage that. It's so frustrating.
Lamar Jackson was phenomenal
yeah.
in that game.
Yep.
Derrick Henry was phenomenal in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And they still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they defense. Okay, you get shredded by Josh Allen, it happens. So I'm not gonna be whining about that.
No.
From the perspective of you guys blew it, because you got to give him credit for being great. like both.
Josh Allen had a fantastic game too. Like,
Both of these guys
Yes.
looked like MVPs on Sunday night.
Yeah.
So full credit to both, and credit for Allen for staying in the game, not giving up, which of course we knew he would because
Going
he's Josh
home
Allen.
like a bunch of Bills fans did.
Yeah, and all that stuff.
is
But again, it
understandable.
was just it would be less frustrating probably for Ravens fans and for people who kind of want to see this team excel like in the playoffs if it wasn't such a recurring event. Like if it was just, hey, we just had a weird game where a bunch of stuff went wrong and we still barely lost. We clearly looked the part of the better team. We just need to tighten some stuff up. I'm just not confident that the tightening of stuff is going to happen.
I don't
Yeah.
remember if the start of this time span was when John Harbaugh became the coach, or if it was more recent. But I saw a stat today that said that John Harbaugh has blown 17 double-digit fourth quarter leads, either in his career or since 2010 or whatever it was.
Since
And it's by
1991.
far the most. Oh, was it
Yeah,
1991?
because that was when they started tracking like leads
Oh,
like that. So
okay.
he's got the most. And again, I
But like by far the most.
have to throw in the caveat.
You have
He's-
to have the lead to blow the
And
lead.
he's been coaching for a long time.
Yeah.
So there's that. But we also see it. We watch it happen.
Why
and we
does this keep
understand
happening?
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're supposed to be doing all this self-scouting and, the analytics on win probability and stuff to influence the decision making. But then they keep getting it wrong anyway, right? Like, why is this a continual issue over the course of years now, right? Like the game that sticks out most to me is the game at home against Miami early in the year in 2022 when Lamar had that 79-yard touchdown run at the end of the third quarter. And I'm like, well, that'll ice the game. We're up 3 touchdowns. It's hard to come back 3 touchdowns in 15 minutes. It wasn't that hard for the Dolphins. So, stuff like that keeps happening. No, I mean, that was the most egregious example, but, you still a 99% win probability. You can't lose those. Like, I understand, like, oh, well, we're a good team. We lead a lot of games. Well, we need to win a lot of those games. Mm-hmm. We need to win a lot more of those games.
Especially against a team that is very likely you'll see them again in the playoffs.
Right.
And now you've set yourself up where
You have to go back up there.
you're going to have to
where it's
go
gonna
up
be
there in all likelihood.
freezing cold. Granted, it'd be freezing cold here in Baltimore too,
yeah.
but like that stadium is really windy, right? It's hard to kick in there. Yeah. It's right in the lake effect snow area. Could be a blizzard. Like what? Just
And we just watched it happen where the Ravens should have won that game and they blew that one too. So
yeah.
yeah. So let's move on because we'll have
And half our
plenty,
team's from Florida.
we'll have plenty.
How do we go from 3 minutes per game to 8 minutes on that game?
I knew this one was going to take up a little more time. I left some time for that. Let's move on to Corey, your Lions, which were not involved in nearly as interesting of a game competitive-wise, but
No.
still kind of a surprising outing just given how sort of lifeless the Lions' offense looked.
Yeah, I mean, I was the only one of the three of us who picked the Packers in this game and against the spread and everything. So I wasn't surprised that we lost. I was surprised the way that we lost, how much we lost by. We lost by 2 touchdowns. But I also went into this game knowing it's going to take specifically the offensive line some time to gel with the loss of Frank Ragnow to retirement and pieces having to move around. But it was disappointing to see how far it looks like we have to go to get that unit where it needs to be. Goff did not have a lot of time in the pocket. He had, I think it was 2 interceptions in total in the game, and one of them was not entirely his fault. It was a really good defensive play, but he did not have time. We couldn't open up any holes for Jahmyr Gibbs. The number of times where we ran off tackle and there was nobody setting the edge, or the number of times we tried to give it to him up the middle, there was no hole, and he tried to bounce it outside, which usually he's very good at, but you had 6 Packers defenders swarming him at that point. Like, you're not going to have success that way. So, when you add to that our defense shot itself in the foot a few times. We were just talking before the show about Alex Anzalone dropping an interception, and the next play, Brian Branch does get an interception, returns it to the house, but it's called back for a penalty. And then we gave up a handful of big plays. And no shade to Jordan Love because he played very well. He took advantage of the opportunities we gave him, but we also telegraphed a lot of our coverages. We let receivers get over top of us, left a lot of open space in the middle of the field. That long pass to Dobbs in the first half stands out. So there's definitely a lot of things that need to be shored up on both sides of the ball. Specifically, the secondary and the offensive line are the two biggest weak spots that I'm seeing early in the season. But we still have a lot of talent on this team. So I'm not sitting here overreacting to week one. And I also have a lot of faith in Dan Campbell as a coach that he is going to get this stuff tightened up.
Eric, you used the word lifeless, and I think that was incredibly appropriate. Like, this was the sort of, the 4:25 afternoon game of the week, right? Like, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo were on the call, and it just was a complete dud of a performance out of the Lions. Like, it was kind of like they were surprised that this day got here so soon or something. It was, maybe it underscored the importance of, what happens when you lose both coordinators in one off season. It was just an ugly showing out of Detroit.
And not that I'm overreacting to this stat either, but in games where his play caller has not been Sean McVay or Ben Johnson, Jared Goff is now 0-19-1.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
a
mean,
little bit of a
coaching matters.
forced Kirchin stat there just because you picked two guys and not one, but it's still, the point stands.
But they're also two very good.
Two excellent
was the tie?
offensive minds, yeah.
They didn't lose that one.
I remember the tie. I just don't remember who was against.
But he hasn't
I
gotten
think it was
a win.
against the Steelers or something weird like that. Anyway, so I just had a couple of notes as well. Some of them are kind of snarky, but but I will say, like, I felt like Matt LaFleur was in his bag early. Like, that's where all the scoring happened for the Packers. Like they scored on a turnover late to make it 20 to get to 27 points, and their touchdown drive in the second half was a 36-yard drive because the Lions had to punt out of the shadow of their own end zone. So the defense did kind of get it going a little bit, and the offense just didn't have a response. But the scripted portion of the game, LaFleur and the Packers offense was just on point. They were and Love executed perfectly, so you got to give him some credit too. I kind of was wondering about would the Lions opt to how much would they double Micah Parsons, because you've got Penei Sewell. Parsons just got there. He was getting shot with epidurals a week ago. How ready is he? Would they just test him one-on-one a little bit? They didn't really do it early, and it reaped the benefits for the Packers.
Yeah,
the rest of the line
he made his presence felt.
But then the Lions sort of backed off of that in the second half, and Parsons was just a menace, as you would expect. So, like, there was no missing a beat for him at all. He was right back to business, so he was great. And time to be a little mean, Jameson Williams is still Jameson Williams. On your last desperate drive, he cut it back across the line to gain on fourth down. Fortunately, was able to fall forward and still pick up the first down, but just another play by him. And real quick, got to make fun of Tony Romo because on Isaac Tesla, as Corey has informed me is his name, he caught the only touchdown of the game for the Lions, where he made an incredible play, reaching back with one hand, catches it, and managed to get both heels down before his tush hits the sideline.
It was so impressive that the officials didn't think that he had caught it.
I didn't think he caught it in real time either, but clearly on replay he had gotten both feet down. But during the replay review, Romo was like, okay, so he got both feet down, but I'm like, no buts, Tony.
Ain't no but.
No but, literally and figuratively here. He was clearly in bounds. The rule is 2 feet down, and the ref comes out and he says, after review, the ruling is overturned. It's a touchdown. Romo's like, oh, like shocked. Even though I think it's Gene Steratore on CBS had already told him, dude, this is clearly a touchdown. And Romo was like, wow, Steratore's on a heater. I'm like, yeah, because he saw what every basic football fan knows, that the dude got 2 feet down with control. It doesn't matter when his butt hits outside the on the boundaries. So not a great moment for Romo, who has kind of fallen off a little bit.
He's been slipping.
He's
like,
been bad
a couple
since
of years.
Basically his third season. Like
Yeah.
his first 2 years were pretty good, and every year since it's gotten worse and worse. I think he admitted that he does not watch film leading up to the games.
Like,
He doesn't prepare.
And there's been an admission that, like, sort of his shtick early was, being able to call out what's going to happen, and they kind of told him to stop doing that.
Why?
Which
that was
is
great.
That was
is
what made
bizarre.
him special.
Yeah.
So it
Stop doing that.
doesn't make any sense. But anyway, let's move on to the next game that we have to talk about. Let's do Steelers Jets, because this was a surprisingly interesting game. The Steelers eked out a win 34-32 in New Jersey against the Jets. Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdown passes in his Steelers debut. And I think there was like a late 60-yard field goal by Boswell to put him ahead, and then the Jets had a last gasp drive that they turned it over on downs, and that was the end of the game. But close game. Justin Fields played great.
He looked
shockingly
really good.
great. He was really good.
He had some terrific throws down the field. He had the touchdown pass to Garrett. Was it a touchdown pass or down inside the 2?
He threw a touchdown to Garrett
Wilson.
Wilson. I know because I was playing him in fantasy. And that was really annoying.
He had some decent runs too, but the thing that really stood out was that Justin Fields looked good throwing the ball.
Yep, he looked comfortable.
And we have not seen that very frequently. So hopefully it's not just a week 1 aberration for him.
The Jets blew this game in a very Jetsy way. I
agree.
Right? Like they, I guess it was the fourth quarter. I was kind of in and out on the red zone, and I look down, I see the Steelers scored a touchdown to get within 1 score, and then I look down again at my phone. I'm like, the Steelers are scoring a touchdown again. It had been 1 minute.
Yeah, because they just had a fumble on special teams. Yeah.
So the Steelers scored a touchdown, kicked the ball off to the Jets. The Jets fumble the kickoff, and the Steelers score another touchdown in 2 plays.
Yep, that was the turning point of the game.
Yeah. What are we doing, Jets? Right?
Fundamentals.
Yeah. Hold on to the ball.
So
just start with that.
So some other notes here. The Jets had 74 yards worth of penalties to the Steelers 26, I think.
Jeez.
And that was clearly a big difference in this game. The Jets had more first downs. The Jets had more yards per play by 1.4 yards, which is significant.
It is.
I'm going to talk about the Steelers a little bit because the Steelers seem to be getting a lot of, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, he's the savior. Spoiler alert, Aaron Rodgers wasn't that good in this football game. The 4 touchdowns is boosting that passer rating, but man, he sprayed some throws. He had 2 drop picks. He was not on the same page with DK Metcalf at times. He took 4 sacks. The Jets defense looked more or less good. They stopped the run brilliantly. They averaged 2.7 yards per carry, and yet somehow they put up 32 points, or 34 points, I should say, because the Jets were jetsing. And it's kind of crazy. And I also looked this up. The Steelers averaged 5 yards per play, 5.0 yards per play to be clear. Last year, the Steelers, who were a bad offense, who had to get rid of both of their quarterbacks, averaged 5.0 yards per play. So the offense was as bad as ever, although I will say, shout out, low key, this is going to happen twice on this show now. Arthur Smith called a good game as the offensive coordinator. He dialed up some really good plays to get those touchdowns scored in the red zone. And that's a big part that's the difference right there, is the fact that they had those plays in the bag. But otherwise, the Steelers, I'm not wowed by this. They won by 2 points against the Jets. The defense was abysmal.
They gave 30-something points to the Jets.
Yeah, and they got run all over.
All they had to do was not run toward T.J. Watt. If you look at the chart of all the carries for Breece Hall, every single one of them went away from where T.J. Watt was lined up.
Yeah, so I'm not sold on this being some Steelers revelation, somehow they're going to win the division now. Again, at the end of the day, they won this game by 2 points against the Jets, who were supposed to be bad, and they got badly outplayed. So let's move on to the Friday. Let's do the Thursday night game first. The opener of the season, because that game got weird quick and stayed weird. It took 4.5 hours for the game to end because of a lengthy lightning delay. But right at the beginning, Eagles-Cowboys, Jalen Carter, from Evan's favorite institution of so-called higher learning, decided he was going to spit on Dak Prescott before the first snap of the game and gets tossed out of the game immediately. And his absence was readily apparent.
Yes.
The Cowboys attacked that spot.
A very large man.
Yes, and a very good player. And he was
suddenly
gone.
not there.
Yes, and the Cowboys put up a really good first half on offense.
Out of our pool of 49 people who are doing the pick'em pool with us on Sleeper, I was one of 2 who picked the Cowboys. 5% of our pool picked the Cowboys, and they covered the spread.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And I would say if Jalen Carter was there, I would feel much better about that not happening.
I agree.
I didn't know the Eagles' best defensive player was going to be like, nah, I don't want to play today.
I'm gonna take it easy.
And for the people who are going to potentially step in here and point out that there's footage of Dak Prescott spitting in the direction of Jalen Carter before that point, I will say he did not hawk a loogie on Jalen Carter.
It's kind of a distinct point.
There's a pretty big difference, and Jalen Carter was encroaching on where the Cowboys huddle was, which you don't do.
You can't even do that in backyard football. You have to
No.
stay on your side
Yeah.
of the ball.
Yes.
The ball gets put here. You got to stay on
offense
this
goes
side.
back to
they
huddle.
go back to
So
huddle.
What
Yeah.
are we doing here?
So Carter was in the wrong first.
A severe lack of brilliance
And
on
then
his part.
yes, it just snowballed from there. So not to say that Prescott spitting in his general direction is a good look, but there's a very
Players are
big
spitting
difference.
all the time.
Yeah,
right?
It was ill advised, and this is the defining point of the game until later when CD Lamb kept dropping the game.
Oh my God!
Like he was brutal.
He got paid how much money?
And the thing is-
you have to catch these balls.
And the thing is,
you have to.
he looked great running routes, getting open. He made some big plays in the first half, but man, those clanks were killer.
I mean,
the thing that concerned me the most about them, with the exception of the really difficult drop that he had late,
Like you
was
can
that
still have to catch that.
Well, yes, no, absolutely.
I-
but his other two drops both popped straight up in the air and could have been very easily intercepted.
Like
Yeah,
he's
ask-
Mark
ask
Andrews
Joe
or
Flacco
something.
about that this weekend.
He
you
got
know?
lucky that those drops were not more penalizing to the Cowboys than they were.
Again, ask Joe Flacco how that went for Cleveland. Both of his interceptions were of that nature, and it cost the Browns the game. So yeah, that was bad from CD. I thought Dak played a very good game. He did have a couple of drop picks, but he was behind and trying to make stuff happen. So I kind of give him a little bit of grace for gunslinging a bit.
The first 2 or 3 drives that the Cowboys ran were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, perfect play by Dak on those opening drives.
And the running game got going too.
They're
'cause of
running
Jimmy
all
Garoppolo.
over.
Javonte actually looked decent.
Yeah. So the Cowboys' offense looked good. Their defense looked dismal for most of the game. I feel like the lightning delay kind of just took the juice out of both offenses.
Yeah.
There was no scoring after that, so it just was kind of a weird game.
Yeah.
But, no further discipline apparently for Jalen Carter, which
He got fined like
I mean, in
$57,000.
terms of like not getting suspended. I don't care about his money.
He
He's
essentially
got,
got suspended for a game.
Yeah.
All intents and purposes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's probably why they didn't feel compelled to punish him further, which I think is reasonable. I think a game suspension in effect and a big fine for doing that kind of tracks.
Yeah, that's fine. Move on.
Yeah. So and we will
And
move
don't
on
do it
now,
again.
because I think we are good on this game.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Friday night game in Sao Paulo. The Chargers and the Chiefs squared off, and the Chargers won
They
Yes.
for
did.
the first time in
10,000
forever.
years.
Not only did they win, but the way they won, I think, is important
I
to
agree.
point out
Yeah.
because any opponent of the Chiefs is allergic to holding leads.
Mm-hmm.
They are allergic to making good plays in the fourth quarter to keep possession of the ball and keep it out of Patrick Mahomes' hands.
Or just don't make bad plays.
Justin Herbert made some really special, important plays late in the game with his arm and with his legs to keep possession with the Chargers and keep it away from Mahomes, and that's why they won ultimately. Because they were messing around and letting the Chiefs stay in that game when they really had no business being in that game.
I thought you were going the direction of like the Chargers beat the Chiefs with confidence, right? Like, you know, they acted like they should be beating the Chiefs.
Yes, they did
Whereas,
what the Ravens should have done.
Yeah. Whereas other teams are like, oh my God, we're beating the Chiefs. What do we do? How about we fumble it now? You know, so you know, the Chargers, I appreciated them beating the Chiefs. I was in Kansas City a couple weeks ago, and there's a lot of Chiefs and Royals shirts, and I was reminded how much I can't stand either of those teams.
Provide a lot of hurt for Baltimore fans.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have the sound on when I was looking at this. That's all I got. I felt the vibes, the confidence. Like, you know what? We should be winning this division, actually.
Yeah, Herbert outplayed Mahomes, which is not usually on your bingo card when they square up. Even when Mahomes isn't playing at his best, he always finds a way to outplay Justin Herbert. Herbert was great. Like, Herbert looked like the guy that everybody says he should be. And I would love to see that because he's really talented and he seems like a good dude. And it's more fun to watch good football.
Yes, we want 32 good quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, we're not going to get that, but we would like it.
The Chiefs don't have any receivers right now.
Yeah, because Travis Kelce killed Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice is suspended, so that's going to be an interesting situation for the Chiefs for the next
And
while.
Hollywood Brown has no hands.
Hollywood Brown did have a big catch to extend the game on that fourth
He also had a
down.
big drop.
that's what he does. So
Mm-hmm.
you
have to get
give and
used
you
to
take.
that.
But again, I'll give Greg Roman a shout out, same way I did Arthur Smith. Greg Roman is a maligned offensive coordinator, especially in these parts, because a lot of
got
people
ran
felt
out
that
of town.
his Ravens offenses got stale, and they were right, because Todd
They kinda
Monken's
did.
come in, and Lamar Jackson has been the best quarterback in football since Todd Monken took over, so kind of tracks. But he called a great game in this one as well, and I think he actually had a good season last year as well. So and it seems like the Chargers got a little something going. Jim Harbaugh's got this team believing in themselves. I'm excited to see what they do. As for the Chiefs, we kind of feel like regular season wise, they're not really as focused as usual, and also they've gotten worse in all facets. I feel like their defense declined. I mentioned this in the preview, but we know this team, it doesn't matter what they show now. If they get to January, they're going to be a problem. So, I don't really have a whole lot of a read on them as a team especially after week one, because the
We
Chargers,
know they can win on the road in the playoffs too.
yeah, because they did it.
Yep.
So that does it for our recap for week one. I know you guys are just dying to hear us talk about Colts Dolphins, but we don't have time to get to all of the games, so we're going to zero in on the ones we're interested in.
Unwatchable.
Daniel Jones, the first quarterback in the Super Bowl era to lead a scoring drive on every single possession of a game.
Good for him. I don't care.
I don't care, and I still don't think he's good. So
he's a bum. Next question.
All right, so let's talk about a little bit of week two action, and we highlighted 3 games to talk about. We kind of came to a consensus. Well, sort of. I told Evan we're not talking about the Ravens and Browns because who cares? But let's actually start with the Sunday night game, because we just talked about the Chiefs a little bit. They're squaring off against the Eagles, Super Bowl rematch.
That's not Sunday night.
It's not Sunday night?
No,
4:25.
4:25.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misread that.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
it's going to be
I stand
America's
corrected.
Falcons,
game, America's
Vikings,
game
what?
of the week on Fox.
Yeah.
Well, it feels like it should be the Sunday night
should
game.
be.
I mean, it
but,
basically is, right? Like, it's kind of standalone.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
the game of the
afternoon.
week, yeah. So, Eagles coming off of a tougher than expected win over the Cowboys. Thank you, Jalen Carter. And the Chiefs coming off of a neutral site loss to their division rival, the Chargers. It just kind of feels like, I'm going to say it, the Eagles' defense looked bad without Jalen Carter. We knew that they were going to progress there because they lost half their starters.
You'll be rested this week.
They will be rested. The Chiefs will be kind of rested too, though. 'Cause
But the Chiefs will not have any receivers.
the Chiefs won't have any receivers, and last I checked, it was 40-6 in the Super Bowl. So, I'm just kind of like...
I have a hard time seeing the Chiefs pull this one out, even at home.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, anecdotally, we could, the refs could sprinkle in a little something, but I still feel like the Eagles are the far better team, like we saw the last time these two teams played.
So
I don't think that this game is going to be close enough for any stuff that the officials sprinkle in to ultimately make a difference.
the refs sprinkled things into the Super Bowl, and we completely forgot that they did that for the most part because the game was not competitive. But early in that game, the refs were on their thing with that. They called a push-off on A.J. Brown on 4th down when it was ticky-tack at best, and there's no chance that they would ever call Travis Kelce for something like that.
Oh, no.
But anyway, so I am going to take a moment to infuriate Evan, because we've talked about this from year over year, how the Chiefs play all their big games at home. And I know its schedule is predetermined. It's kind of random. The Chiefs play 8 playoff teams this year. 6 of them are at home. One of them was in Sao Paulo. The only game they actually have to go on the road to is to play the Bills. And again, I get it. It's random. You didn't know that the Lions or the Commodes were going to be in the playoffs. But what bothers me is the Chiefs have 9 home games this year, and they gave one of their road games a neutral site game. I think that's ridiculous. If you have somebody play a neutral site game, it should be a team giving up a home game and playing 8-8-1, not
Yes.
9-7-1.
Yeah.
And
I
just
agree with that.
That was a blunder by the NFL, but of course it benefits the Chiefs. But
I also want to point out, so the Eagles somehow are only favored by 1.5, and I get that they're on the road, but still, that seems very low to me, given the circumstances. But aside from that, when I went and did my predictions for the season, and you guys remember I put the Eagles second in the division, and at 9-8, and a lot of that's because the Eagles had the complete opposite situation of the Chiefs, where a lot of their good opponents they're playing on the road, and this was a game that I gave them a loss on when I projected out the whole season. I don't think that's going to happen now,
yeah,
but
I think the Eagles travel well.
It just feels. I don't know. It just feels weird on the NFL's part.
Feels like the
that they're
fix
going
is
to
in.
such opposite extremes for these two teams.
I mean, say the Chiefs had played the Chargers in L.A., right? There still would have been mostly Chiefs fans in there.
But that's not the point. That's really not the point, though. The point is, again, they've got 9 home games, and you play, and one of the better teams on their schedule, they got to play somewhere other than their home field. Like, that's just, it's insane.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, but they lost, so it's a moot point.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to another interesting game. I'm trying to remember. We picked 3.
That was the
Thursday night
Commanders
was one of
and
them.
Commanders-Packers Thursday night.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in this game because the Commanders are good, coming off of a playoff appearance and winning 2 playoff games. The Packers were pretty good last year. We're a playoff team. And
Despite being third in their division. So
Yeah.
like, that's pretty legit.
And they looked pretty damn good against the Lions on Sunday, as we just discussed. My most interesting matchup here is sort of Jaden Daniels versus Micah Parsons, because Jaden Daniels is a brilliant escape artist, but he also can hold the ball a little too long, and Micah Parsons is jaws on the football field. Like, he just every time he's chasing after, he's like, dum, 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 like, you know what's gonna happen. He's gonna run through 3 dudes. Like, Goff was trying to get away from him. He had like 3 guys between him and Parsons. Parsons just ran right through all of them and was just the Energizer Bunny just coming after this dude.
It's like one of those mini games that they used to have in Madden back in the day.
Yeah, it's like just blow everybody up. Like,
it's
like he's playing on rookie mode. It's
Yes.
ridiculous. He's just shoving everybody out of the way, and he ran Goff down. And I'm just like, whew. If Parsons looked healthy, right? Like, that was a concern early in the season, is how healthy did he look and how ready was he to play for a new team.
that was made up to try to attempt to cover up Dallas getting rid of him inexplicably.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was more.
I think what intrigues me the most about this matchup is just really it's a personal thing for me, in that, like, I don't like the Commanders. I haven't really liked them since I stopped rooting for them, and now they're probably my most hated team because they knocked us out of the divisional round last year. I don't think that I can take it emotionally if the Packers beat us by 14 and then can't beat the Commanders at home.
You're going to have a really hard time with this, Corey. There's no way this goes in a way that you feel good, because if the Packers start 2-0, you're not going to be happy.
I'm not going to be thrilled, but I'd rather us have lost to a really good team at the start of the season while we're still figuring our stuff out than for us to have lost to a team that is worse than the team that knocked us out of the playoffs last year.
I mean,
See, Corey, this is why you have to have a ranking of teams you hate. So when they play each other, you can decide, well, who do I want
I just
to
said
win?
the Commanders are now my most hated team.
Okay.
yeah, he hates
You're
the
rooting for
Commanders.
Green Bay.
I'm rooting for Green Bay in this game.
Alrighty.
Well, that's an interesting choice, but hatred runs deep. Evan, do you have anything else about this?
I mean, going back to what you were saying about Micah Parsons, one of the sort of knocks on Jaden Daniels coming out of college was that, like you said, he holds the ball too long. He also had a knack for getting clobbered, and like you don't want to mess around at the NFL level. Granted, Jaden Daniels didn't get clobbered a whole bunch last year. He did a great job at that.
That was
But if ever there was a time that would resurface,
It could be this game.
it would be this week.
Yeah, and again, not only getting clobbered and holding the ball too long, but getting injured. Jaden Daniels did have injury issues in college, and obviously prefer that not to happen because he played great on Sunday.
Yeah.
He against that pass rush with the Giants, they were making some moves and it didn't faze him at all. So Micah Parsons obviously is I think he's better than anybody on that Giants D line, but those dudes on the Giants D line are really good too. So that was a good little sort of preview for what might be coming for him on Thursday. So, that's going to be a fun one on Thursday. And we got one more game to discuss here that we're going to discuss. Monday night game, Buccaneers versus Texans.
I thought we were talking about the other Monday night game.
Well, Evan wrote this one down. So,
And
since what's the other Monday night game?
Chargers Raiders. The Raiders. 1-0 teams, divisional game, last game of the week.
I think we got time. We can squeeze both in. Let's do it.
Oh, we're going to squeeze them both in.
Squeeze them both in. All right.
Monday night doubleheader style.
Raiders Chargers. Okay, so
okay.
we'll start with that one first. Why not? Because Corey mentioned it.
Okay.
So Raiders coming off of a win against the Patriots. I thought Geno looked pretty good.
I thought he looked good. I thought that it was a pretty well coached game on the Raiders' part. I was expecting that game to be little bit closer than it wound up being. I think they won by a whole touchdown.
Yeah, they did.
The biggest thing for the Raiders is they got to figure out how to block, because Ashton Genty had 38 rushing yards, but he had like 44 after first contact.
In the first half, he was getting some. I was shocked that stat existed when I watched this game on playback, because the first couple of drives he was getting holes, and I'm like, how did this happen? And then I saw the stat, I was like, oh, it stopped working. and Gino got sacked a bunch of times too.
Yes.
So like the entire offensive line's performance was shaky at best. Brock Bowers got a little banged up, but he's supposed to be fine for this one. So that'll be helpful for them. And then the Chargers obviously coming off not only their most impressive win in a long time, Justin Herbert's best game of his career. Like, full stop. That's what that was. So, it's a big game. The Raiders are trying to prove themselves a little bit. The Chargers are trying to take the next step. So I'm excited to watch this one.
I am too.
Yeah.
Anything?
I don't have anything.
You're good?
No, I don't have anything that y'all didn't already say.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to you first then, so that you can actually round the horn. Not going to take all 30 seconds of whatever.
Of the FaceTime?
Or not the FaceTime, of like the showdown thing or whatever it was. But
okay.
All right, so Texans-Bucks. I did not. The one game that I wanted to watch that I haven't watched yet was the Texans-Rams game.
It was kind of stinker.
I know, but I want to see
stinker.
why it was a stinker, because both of those teams are supposed to be good, and I don't know why the Texans looked as bad as they did, and I gotta go sit through it. So
the bits that I saw, it seemed like the Rams defense was getting to them a little bit.
yeah,
And you have to keep in mind that with the Texans, like, they don't have much of a run game right now. Like, Nick Chubb is kind of their bell cow, and
They didn't
he's
have a run game last year.
dealing with. Joe Mixon played very well last year.
I would take a healthy Joe Mixon over Nick Chubb at this point.
Exactly.
Because Chubb's not going to be healthy.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you know,
Chubb's like he's been through hell and back.
I want for Chubb to be good. He's not
don't
that
think it's
guy
gonna
now.
happen.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that
unfortunate, but
knee
yeah.
injury was just too catastrophic, and he just
Again. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, until and if Mixon even comes back this year, because there is some doubt as to whether he will be available at any point this year. But until that point, the Texans are going to have a hard time, when you also consider that their wide receiver core is missing Tank Dell,
Missing Nico Collins.
right now. He didn't do much.
Where was he at?
And they've got two rookie wide receivers behind Collins right now. So they're going to take Jaden Higgins, and I forget the other guy's name, but both of them are Iowa State guys. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to get with the flow, because these are not the Justin Jefferson or even the Emeka Ibuka wide receivers who are able to come in and immediately make an impact. They're the kind of rookie wide receivers that if they can make that kind of an impact, it's going to take them at least a half a season, like we used to expect every rookie to take.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the Buccaneers side, speaking of Emeka Ibuka, what a coming out party. 2 touchdown catches, made his presence felt without Chris Godwin, said, we got this. We're going to take care of this until he comes back healthy. Bucky Irving, I know that he didn't have a great fantasy day, but he had a pretty good actual football day this past Sunday.
I agree.
He looked good.
Yeah, he looked good.
And Baker's still Baker.
Yeah, I think Baker has a, sort of knack for, performing in the spotlight or whatever, right? This game's on Monday night. You mentioned Emeka Ibuka. Mike Evans is still here.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this game. Just the Texans' defense is supposed to be good, and we know the Bucs' offense is good.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if Mike Evans could actually do something this week, because he didn't do much for my fantasy team this past week.
Because that's because Emeka Ibuka was doing everything for my fantasy team. Both of them.
The Bucs kind of had a bad offensive day against the Falcons. Like they struggled for big portions. The Falcons
irritating.
The Falcons got a lot of pressure on Baker, and the Texans are a better defense, I think, up front than the Falcons. So they're gonna have to shore some stuff up on the offensive line, because they're a little shaky there early in the season. And Baker was pretty meh in this game. Like he clutched up because he's Baker, and that's what he does, and that's why we love him. But like overall, his performance is a little bit inconsistent in this one, which I don't think is going to necessarily carry over. But it was like, I'm normally, if coming off of Baker Mayfield led a dramatic comeback to win the game and he threw 3 touchdown passes. They're going to roll and just beat the Texans after the way they played. I'm not sure I'm quite there yet, but I feel more positive right now about the Bucs, just because I've seen the guys that are coming in for the guys that are injured right now actually play well, whereas for the Texans it seems like that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So it just feels like the Bucs are a little bit more ready to play early in the season.
Texans are laying 2.5. I think
They're laying points?
Yes, the Texans are laying points. They're at home,
Yeah.
but still 2.5. I think I'm taking the Bucs in that one.
Yeah,
I like the Bucs in that situation too.
Yeah, so and again, it's got my eye on C.J. Stroud because fantastic rookie year, regressed a bit last year. Seems
This
like
is
he
a prove it
didn't
year.
have a great year or a great game this week, although albeit under some tough circumstances. It's going to be interesting because I hate to see him fall off, but he's kind of trending in the wrong direction right now. So hopefully he can get back on the path of being one of the best players, one of the best quarterbacks in football. So
Yep.
I think we squeezed that in nicely. We've got 20 minutes to go before we have our sort of stop time, which we're going to try to get to that. But we do have 2 more topics to get to before we get out of here. One of them is, it's just us whining about stuff, but it's fine. I think you guys will agree. But first, some NBA news.
Oh,
Ball news.
great.
Yes, but
The
I think
association.
but it is I do think this is an interesting story because this is a sort of a cross sports potentially type of story, right? Like this isn't something exclusively basketball related, and it has
right.
to do with
That's why I'm mentioning this because I worry that we're a little bit early on talking about the specific situation because there's still some details that I'm waiting to see. There's some question about how legitimate these claims by Pablo Torre are, but definitely the implications across all sports are important to talk about.
Well, I'm of the opinion that if Pablo Torre has found out, then he's found out.
Yeah.
Like, Pablo.
That's
Ask
generally
the execs of the NFLPA who ain't got no job anymore. How
That's where I
going.
generally fall on things, but there's just a lot of bizarre things with that company.
But there are also a lot of red flags here too
Yes,
that were
absolutely.
overturned. So anyway, to get to what actually happened, because I'm hosting the show, I should probably tell all 4 listeners that.
Oh, I didn't think we had that many.
Maybe we do. I think we have.
You started the show with ladies and gentlemen. I'm like, that's
My mom
presuming too
listens.
much.
My mom listens.
My wife listens sometimes, so
Oh, okay. But there's
Gross.
2 ladies and 2 gentlemen that listen.
Well, we're here.
Oh, okay. I don't
Anyway, Evan sidetracking by telling us how uninteresting we are. Anyway, Kawhi Leonard has been, to use the word accused, it has been suggested that Kawhi Leonard has accepted a sort of no-show job, which is a term that is exclusively used prior to this, in my opinion, in the mafia. So, if you watch The Sopranos, you know all about no-show and no-work jobs. To be sort of a sponsor for this, I guess, environmentalist company called Aspiration. There's evidence to suggest that Steve Ballmer invested a $50 million stake in this company, and 48 of it was to go to Kawhi Leonard, who was also, a part of this. And Kawhi at no point has done any type of endorsement for this company. And we know that they've hired pretty prominent people to do so, including Robert Downey Jr. and other celebrities. So it's not like they haven't done. It's not like it was like, hey, we'll agree to do this, and they just never got around to it. They've done this for other people, and there are suggestions that this was done as a means to circumvent the salary cap and grease Kawhi's pockets a little more green.
It's very interesting because, Aspiration ultimately filed for bankruptcy.
And is under fraud
Their
watch, yeah.
their CEO has to pay like $248 million or north of that
Yeah.
for fraud. And that's where some of my questions come in about this, because if you've got a team owner who is making an investment in this company, usually owners get to a point where they can own a team because they make good investments. And so for this would suggest that he thought that this company was legitimate and maybe they were not. But yeah, the fact that they basically said, hey, here's a contract for us to give you, Kawhi Leonard, a whole bunch of money, and we would love it if you would do these events that we ask you to do, but if not, it's okay, you'll still get all your money, is very bizarre to me.
Yes. I mean, my thought just now is it seems like this is an example of, somebody who's ridiculously rich and being like, well, I have a whole bunch of money, so the rules don't apply to me. I'm going to go through some shady stuff to circumvent the salary cap. And, when you don't make the rules, you don't break the rules.
Another thing that was really interesting about this is that, so the who is the sponsor of the Clippers stadium now? Because it's not Crypto.com anymore, is it?
It's Intuit?
Intuit.
Yeah.
Intuit. It's a new arena. Yeah.
Right.
Like they're playing their own stadium.
So I think it was like $550 million was the bid for the naming rights. This Aspiration company bid double that for the naming rights for their stadium, and they didn't go with them. So that's the other question that I have about, like, did they actually go through Aspiration to have them give extra money to Kawhi Leonard to circumvent the cap? Those are the things that raise the questions for me about whether that's true. Because if so, why would you not have given the naming rights to this company when they're bidding double
Well, it sounds
what
like
the
they were a
ultimate
scam company.
company?
Doesn't that kind of suggest in some ways, though, that Steve Ballmer didn't want his shell company to spoon feed a player free money out front at the top of the headliner of his building? That's sometimes
Possibly.
you gotta lay low a little bit,
Possibly.
right? Again, and that's all speculation on my part, and it's speculation on all of our parts. But like another interesting little nugget that I saw today, though, was that Kawhi, when he was, a pending free agent coming off of a championship in Toronto, obviously the Raptors really, really, really wanted to retain his services because, they had just won a championship with him as their best player. It makes sense
And
for them.
they've been irrelevant.
Well, the
since.
Clippers were twice fined significant amounts of money for basically subverting the rules about player tampering. First, when Doc Rivers made a comment comparing Kawhi Leonard to Michael Jordan, they were fined. I forget exactly how much
Doesn't
it was,
matter.
but
It's not a lot.
And then they fined them again another time for another incident that had to do with Kawhi Leonard. I forget the details of that one, but it just there have been enough incidents around the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard that were not above board, that did not fall into the rules of the NBA, that also have me feeling like this could definitely be a legitimate claim.
There's a whole lot of smoke coming from a whole lot of different places all at one time.
Yes.
And one other place where it's sort of coming from is there's been some revelations about what Toronto offered Kawhi Leonard and the sort of distraught nature of Toronto's owner for attempting to get Kawhi sponsorship opportunities with the Raptors and being basically outbid in that way.
Oh, he tried to cheat too, and it didn't work?
That was
Is
the
that what
implication. And the thing is, I don't know the rules exactly on like what are teams allowed to do for their players to sort of. I know they're allowed to set to help them, maybe encourage them to meet with sponsors, but they're not allowed to outright recruit sponsors for them. So I don't know exactly what kind of machinations they were up to here, but I also read today, just before the show, that there's been, again, I haven't validated it, but it's been reported that Kawhi Leonard had certain demands, and
I saw that
the
yesterday.
financial
Yeah, I saw
demands
that
were
too.
eerily similar to what he got from the Clippers here, or at least matching up what's on paper here from this Aspiration company. So that kind of leads, there's a little bit of a breadcrumb path here where it's like, he went to the Raptors and maybe allegedly tried to get them to match this other shady offer, and the Raptors couldn't do it, so he went to L.A. But, it's under investigation. The NBA is looking into it. We'll see what they come up with. But, I mean, this is a big story, and this will matter a lot because the Clippers have hopes of being a good team and being a championship contender. And this would completely derail them because the last time we saw some funny business with the salary cap was with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes.
And they did it with Joe Smith back in the early 2000s. And it ruined Kevin Garnett's entire tenure there because they didn't have a first-round pick for 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they got bent over
Out of
pretty
2
bad.
rounds.
Yes. You get one good player a year maybe in the draft, and the NBA said, nah, you're not getting any. So...
You'll get nothing and like
yes,
it.
so that happened. And it also does kind of harken back to some similarly related situations. I'm not going to talk about the nonsense of people saying, "Oh, what about Jalen Brunson taking a sweetheart deal?" That's completely baseless. I'm not assuming that Jalen Brunson and the Knicks are cheating based on that. But Tom Brady, we know that he took slightly less than market value deals with the Patriots for a number of years. We also know that the Patriots had sort of an arrangement with TB12 company and his fitness guru or whatever, where they were allowed to sort of operate basically in the Patriots facilities and sort of be a secondary team doctor, which is a means of they're buying their products and stuff like that. The NFL looked into it, said it passed the smell test, but it sort of reminds me a little bit of that, where it's like it seemed like the Patriots were sort of goosing Brady's company a little bit as sort of like a, we're buddies type of deal. And again, the NFL looked into it and said it was above board. And the NFL has a history of being willing to slap the Patriots around a little bit when they do stupid stuff. So, this doesn't feel like they would have just let this go if it wasn't above board. But it does sort of like what is allowed, what's not. That's kind of what makes this interesting, because I'm sure, again, I don't want to say it like speaking blanket terms and be too cynical about this and say I think all NBA teams do this, but I'm sure players and owners have, especially star players, have these type of relationships where they try to figure out how can we make each other richer, make this relationship work better for each other. And I'm not familiar enough with the details of the CBA and how they work around those to sort of make this happen and how commonplace this might actually be.
And the Wizards aren't doing any of it, I'm sure.
You actually have to get the good players to show up.
They don't do that.
That's not a thing. So we will keep you updated on this story as it develops, because I do think it's very interesting. It's got cross-sports implication because it could happen in any sport. It could happen in hockey or baseball as well. But for now, let's hop over to something that, a little bit less serious but frustrating for us. 7 hours of RedZone football start now.
I noticed that right away.
Yes. Notice no commercial free.
They did this for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season last year as well. They changed it, like the phrase. But this is the first time we're actually like getting like advertising and commercial breaks during RedZone. Now, it wound up not being as disruptive this week as we initially thought it might be when they first were doing the rounds and talking about it, and Scott Hansen was announcing what was going on. But, they really didn't talk initially about, it's only going to be this much. It's only going to be a minute total of ads with like 4 spots of 15 seconds each or whatever. Initially, they just said like there's going to be some ad breaks in it now.
And it made it sound like it's going to be, they do the video for witching hour, and then it'd be like, when we come back after this. Like, oh my God.
That would be a disaster.
I would lose my mind.
Yes. But so there were like a couple where it was a complete ad break, like you didn't see any football on the screen. There were a couple where it was a split box where you had football, but then you had the advertisement, and that was what that's the audio that was playing, but you could see both. And if it's the latter, I can live with that to an extent.
I mean,
like,
we've been living with that
I've seen that
for
in a
years.
lot of different sporting events. Like
NASCAR does it.
NASCAR does it. The Tour de France
They
does
do it
it.
in golf and tennis.
Sure.
As well, yeah.
So like I can live with that to an extent as long as it's not too abrasive. The thing that concerns me is that this is very clearly to me a Pandora's box situation where it's not going to stop at 1 minute total of ads. That's the beginning. Mm-hmm. They're desensitizing us to that so that they can add more and more over the season. And whatever we have this week is probably not going to be what it's going to look like in week 18, and it's definitely not going to be what it looks like in week 1 of 2026.
Like what? I mean, at what point does it get to
because
what they're showing us isn't live anymore? Because they've stuffed so many commercials,
and
in.
they're committed to showing us every touchdown. So now they got to go back and show us touchdowns that already happened. Yeah. But what does 1 minute of ads actually get them in terms of revenue?
This is the point I made. Yeah.
Like how much revenue is it actually generating in turn? Like I know that you get a lot of viewers. It's not like you're not potentially making millions of dollars off of that, but millions of dollars is a drop in the bucket to a network like that when you've got several 100,000 subscribers at least.
You mean the most profitable sports league in the world?
And
they need more money.
And the show that gets the most eyeballs every Sunday. People love RedZone. Every bar has a subscription.
The Falcon Stadium has a RedZone bar in it.
Have a subscription.
Yeah.
Like they're already getting a lot of revenue from us, and now they have the opportunity to double dip. And once you get that taste, it doesn't stop there. You can't eat just one potato chip.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, my concern from cost-benefit analysis for the NFL on this is, if you only have 1 minute of ads, sure, you can sell that ad time for a pretty penny, but how many people hear the RedZone's going to have commercials and then cancel their cable or cancel their RedZone purchase? How much money does that take out of your pocket? I can't imagine that you come out ahead with 1 minute of commercial breaks. The clear plan was for this to be more than that, and there was so much outrage that they were like, oh, just 1 minute. They had Schefter tweet it out, right? Like, they had their mouthpiece say, guys, relax, it's going to be fine, don't worry. And so from my anecdotal situation on Sunday, I didn't watch RedZone. I went to Looney's because they don't have RedZone at Looney's. They have Sunday Ticket. Okay, and they have every game on every TV. And I was like, you know what? In some ways, it's better to watch that way. I just don't have access to that in my home.
Right.
But, RedZone is great for when I have
Looney's
one
anyway.
television and
Sure.
they just do the work for me. And RedZone's still great just for fantasy football and things like that. But I don't want to be part of this if they're just saying, hey, we're going to ruin the experience gradually. No, I'm just, like I said, I'm going to be the frog that just jumps out of the pot right away. I'm not
That's fair. I subscribe to it for the season. And I also have I have NFL Plus as well.
Yeah,
So
so do I,
I
yeah.
can watch it that way as if I want to, instead of doing it on my actual television. But I subscribe to it on YouTube TV for the season. But no, I mean, absolutely. I am very attentively watching the temperature. Like, I've got a thermometer in there with me so I can see the temperature rising. I don't have to wait to see if bubbles start forming
you're
to
at the
know
pool,
that it's
yeah.
boiling, because at that point it's too late. So like I'm watching for that. If I'm seeing that the ads are starting to ramp up each week, like, I'm not going to get to the point where they are having ad breaks that are like watching an actual game, because at that point I'm just going to watch an actual game.
Yeah.
Like that takes away the whole benefit of RedZone at that point. Like, I get that you're still going to see all the touchdowns and whatnot, but if as Evan said, it's not actually live and we only have time to see the touchdowns, like, we already have the touchdown montage at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. Why do I need the actual show to also essentially just be the touchdown montage, but with ad breaks?
Yeah. And another thing is, like, we watch it in large part for fantasy football.
Yeah.
If it's so far behind that we're already getting notifications on our phones about touchdowns,
Then
then
I'll
I was
just
like,
watch the
okay.
Lions game and I'll have my
Yeah.
phone with me like
Yeah.
I have anyway.
Like we were doing before RedZone existed. So yeah.
I think the other thing, at least for me, what makes RedZone so great is that it had no commercials. It would keep me glued to the TV
Yes.
all day long.
Yes.
I would not get up from the couch for hours at a time. Okay? I wouldn't get up to eat, go to the bathroom, nothing. And then as soon as RedZone's over, I look around like, look at all these chores that I didn't do.
You get
But-
the Sunday scaries too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like,
oh,
oh,
I didn't
no.
get ready for the work week at all.
No,
And
not in the
it's
least
7
bit.
o'clock, and I got an hour to eat dinner and then watch Sunday Night Football. So
Yeah, but like if there's commercials in RedZone, they're taking a break from showing it. That means, I might mentally take a break from watching it and be like, oh, I need to do laundry or wash dishes or something, and never come back to
that
it.
might be a good thing for you, Evan, if you're not doing.
I
any
mean,
of
it'd
those
probably be
things during
better
the
for
day.
my
I still do
overall
laundry.
health.
I just have RedZone on while I'm doing it.
But you still have to get up from the couch
Sure.
to go do laundry, right? Like
Get some steps in.
you can't
on,
roll
bro.
the washing machine out in front of the TV.
All right, so we're coming up on time. So I think we've complained enough about RedZone sort of doing away with what made it kind of special. Hopefully they reverse that, but it doesn't seem to be the trend.
No.
But before we get rolling, shout-outs.
I have one.
What do you got?
Reason I was so busy this past weekend. Yesterday was the actual day, but this past weekend was the celebration of my grandfather's 90th birthday.
Oh, happy
happy
birthday to him.
So it was frankly exhausting. Just a lot of relatives, a lot of driving to Montgomery County, a lot of functions and stuff. So I'm tired, and on Sunday when it was done, I'm like, I just need some time to myself. But
Happy birthday.
Yes, but happy birthday to him. Right. I'm talking about me too much. Get back on point, man. Happy birthday to him. He's 90. Doesn't look it, by the way. And he was in good spirits and chipper and moving around good and everything. So
That sounds like my grandfather when he turned 90. He was kinda
I
the same
hope
way.
to be. I hope to make it to 90. And then if I do, I hope to be doing well.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of shout outs. One is to a couple of my athletes from this past Saturday, Elijah Hawkins and Darius Jones-Humphrey. They finished second and fourth in the JV race up at the Bittersweet Invitational in Poolsville. So they both broke 20 minutes in the 5K in the JV race, which is awesome. So congratulations to them.
Yeah.
Helped us to a second place finish in the JV race.
Excellent.
And then my other shout out is to our workers from DM Stags TV, along with you, Eric, and Scott Sicko for holding down the fort during the second half of quite a game on Friday. I had to dip out at halftime because I looked at my watch. It was like 8:30.
Yeah, it took
this
an
game
hour
is
and a half.
supposed to end at like 9.
Yeah, it's only 2 hours.
There's no way I have to be up at 4:30 tomorrow morning. So I dipped out at halftime and turned apparently into quite an interesting second half.
Oh, it was a circus. Like the game wasn't.
It was
really...
7-0 at halftime.
Well, yeah, Imhotep turned the ball over 3 straight plays, and it led to a bunch
the
of
Jets would be
quick
proud.
points. Yes. Yeah, that was quite an experience. If you have a chance to watch the playback, at least in the second half when we got everything coordinated, and late first half too, when we sort of got things going with going. Yeah, but it was still
the echo
really
was good
bad.
by kickoff.
I felt like I was talking like I had a speech impediment.
the echo was terrible,
killing
but
me.
we did fix it just before the opening kickoff.
Yes, and then I was like, okay, cool, we're back. So, all right. So my shout out to your boys too that were doing it. They were killing it, doing their job. Even Jared said it's the best he's ever seen, like students doing that.
which
so.
is really impressive for the first
give
of
them
the
an
year.
A.
Yeah,
Like, none
straight
of them
right
had
out
done
of the
this
gate,
before.
Mm-hmm.
So my shout out is to JJ McCarthy, who got his first win yesterday playing for the Minnesota Vikings. He didn't play particularly well, but go watch some clips if you can find them of just some of the stuff that people were saying about how he was handling himself on the sidelines after he struggled in the first half and threw a pick 6. He's got that dog in him. I don't know how good of a player he's going to be. It's early. We had questions about him on draft day, and he struggled a lot in this game in his first start, but he definitely has it. It's just a question of does he have the talent to kind of elevate him?
Yes.
Because if he does, if he's just pretty good, he could that it factor could take him to a really high place, and I'm really rooting for him after just the way he comported himself this weekend.
Interesting. Did you get a Star is Born vibes?
No. I
No?
just the team rallied around him in a way that was shocking for a guy who played very poorly for much of the game and who was making his first start.
I had assumed that I was taking another lone wolf loss on that one. Instead, I got a lone wolf win. Went 3 for 4 this week.
Because the Bears decided to be the Bears.
They are who we thought they were.
And the
They
Vikings
were not left off
did
the
not
hook.
let them off the hook. Shout out to Kevin O'Connell, too. He's great. All right, so that does it for this week's show. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching on YouTube if you're out there on the live stream. You can find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music or something like that.
It's just YouTube.
Just YouTube?
And it's just
Okay.
an image.
Well,
We're not actually on camera. We only do that for our draft show.
Yeah,
One day we'll be on camera for all of them.
yeah,
That-
when
that
this
is not-
podcast stops losing money, we'll actually be able to do that. But anyway, you guys can reach us at thesportsballers.com if you have topic ideas. We're kind of taking those now because we're not just talking about whatever, but if you've got something that you would like to hear us discuss, we will be glad to take that under consideration. You can also follow us at SportsBallers18. You can follow us individually. Corey is at Corey Puffett. I am at Quagmire67. And Evan is at Evan_Ash13. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We will be back next week to discuss what happened in Week 2, a little bit of Week 3, and whatever other sports news comes to mind. But until then, take it easy.